Breaking now, a suspicious package has closed the Clemente Bridge in Pittsburgh. Right now, we know that police are on the scene to check out an unattended package. Pittsburgh police say avoid the area and expect traffic delays on both sides of the bridge at this point. We'll let you know when we get more details. From summer to fall weather, a drastic drop in temperatures from this time yesterday. Meteorologist Scott Harbaugh tracking the changes heading into the weekend in Severe Weather Center 11. Even more changes coming tomorrow. Yeah, as a matter of fact, most folks were wearing shorts and T-shirts yesterday. Today, it's maybe a sweater weather, and tomorrow morning, you'll need the coat. The current temperatures outside right now, 63 degrees in Pittsburgh, 61 in Butler, and 64 in Washington. That's about 20 degrees colder than it was this time yesterday when it was already in the low 80s across much of the area. Visible satellite, notice the clouds pushing to the south. We have a weak little wave dropping a couple sprinkles through the area, and that will reinforce the cool air, so don't expect much jump in temperatures today. 64 at 2 o'clock, back down to 63 by 5, and notice 8 o'clock this evening, already down to 55 degrees. I'm updating the numbers for tonight, tracking which areas are going to wake up to temperatures in the 30s tomorrow. Full forecast coming up in a little more than 15 minutes. Pitt police are warning students about a burglar. He tried to get into an apartment on Melwood Avenue last night and broke into a woman's home just a few hours later on the same street. Channel 11's Mike Holden joins us live in Oakland with new information on this. Mike?
Gordon, Pitt police at this afternoon hour are still searching for a suspect, as well as any people who live around here with additional information. We talked to several Pitt kids who live right here on this exact block, and they told us, yeah, it's definitely alarming, and they actually found out about it through an alert on their cell phone. Look right here at the video. This better illustrates where it all went down. 2 incidents, roughly 2 hours apart in this off-campus Pitt neighborhood. University of Pittsburgh police were called to Melwood Avenue between Center and Baum for an attempted burglary. That one happened just before 11 last night. The guy living there said he was sound asleep when he says someone tried to open his bedroom window. He woke up and the suspect took off. Then, just after 1 this morning, Pitt police responded to the same exact street. This time, a girl reported someone got into her house through an unlocked back window. She was not home at the time. The suspect didn't take anything and ended up running away. Students told us this is definitely frustrating.
It definitely makes you feel a little more uneasy, especially, you know, people going on breaks and whatnot. Making sure you keep your doors locked is obviously very important. Making sure other people, you know, remember to just stay safe, especially at night, and keeping an eye out for different people.
And the buddy system obviously crucial as well moving forward. Coming up on Channel 11 News at 5, we're asking Pitt police if this is potentially the same suspect or if it's 2 different people. Much more on the investigation, as well as more from kids who live right here in this neighborhood. That's all starting at 5 o'clock tonight. Reporting live in Oakland, Mike Holden, Channel 11 News.
All right, thanks, Mike. Firefighters battled a big house fire in Westmoreland County. This was on Everglade Road in Hempfield Township. We told you about this as it was breaking on Channel 11 Morning News. Firefighters had trouble fighting this fire because there weren't any hydrants in that area, so they had to rely on tankers to bring in water. We're told the house was occupied and are working to find out if anyone was hurt. A house fire kept emergency crews busy in Wilkinsburg. The fire happened here along North Avenue. There was still a lot of smoke coming from the house when our crew got there. Firefighters tell us that house was vacant. There is no word yet on a cause. New developments today in the impeachment inquiry of President Donald Trump. Democrats released more than 20 pages of text messages. They suggest the State Department was helping the president's attorney push a foreign power to investigate Joe Biden. NBC's Tracy Pod says the latest on the impeachment inquiry.
Overnight, Democrats released more than 20 pages of text messages provided by former Ukraine envoy Kurt Volker during closed-door testimony. Those messages between State Department officials, President Trump's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, and an advisor to the Ukrainian leader, apparently working together to investigate whether Vice President Joe Biden used his position to help his son.
The President of the United States encouraging a foreign nation to interfere again to help his campaign by investigating Iran is a fundamental breach of the President's oath of office.
In one exchange, state officials discussed drafting a statement for the Ukrainians announcing the investigation. One diplomat was so concerned he threatened to quit, adding, "I think it's crazy to withhold aid from Ukraine." This after President Trump publicly called on another country to investigate Biden.
China should start an investigation into the Bidens, because what happened in China is just about as bad as what happened with Ukraine.
The president has confessed to his violation of his oath of office right there, then and there, so that don't need too much inquiry.
The president tweets he has an absolute right to investigate corruption, and that would include asking other countries to help out. Democrats also said overnight they'll look into whether Vice President Pence was involved. Today they hear from the Inspector General for the intelligence community, the person who brought the whistleblower complaint to Capitol Hill. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
Police are looking for the driver who hit a teenager with a car and kept on driving. It happened Tuesday night along the border of Mount Oliver and Knoxville. Officers were called to Bousman Street at Ibis Way. It's not clear if that's where the 16-year-old girl was hit or just where she was found. She's been in the hospital since Tuesday. Police say there are cameras nearby, but they were not working. 2 firefighters from Indiana County in jail for arson are now accused of setting 2 more fires. According to our partners at the Trib, Nicholas Leone told police that he and Dylan DeLessio set a garage on fire on Bailey Road back in December. He also said they set a barn on fire along Route 954 North just days before. The 2 are already behind bars for setting an Amish furniture store on fire in January. A new beginning for the dogs rescued from a major hoarding situation in Ross Township. You may remember 117 dogs were found in deplorable conditions there. Today, some of them are getting new homes. Channel 11's Liz Kilmer is live from Animal Friends with the latest on this. Liz?
Yeah, Gordon, folks are inside the nonprofit shelter here right now, meeting with staff, hoping to bring one of these dogs home and to finally give it a good home. There are 11 that are available for adoption today, marking a new beginning after what these dogs went through. Now, we got to look at some of them inside. Most of them are Australian Shepherd and Border Collie mixes, ready for a new beginning after 117 were found all in one home in a deplorable hoarding situation just weeks ago in Ross Township. Now, Animal Friends here led the rescues and is in the process of preparing each dog for adoption. They received more than 700 applications, and this morning some folks were lined up outside in hopes of bringing one home. The nonprofit, however, is making sure that adopters know that these pups will come with some challenges.
It's not necessarily behavioral issues, it's just that they don't know anything. They're learning how to be dogs. They're learning what a collar is, how to walk on a leash, how to wear a collar, but probably the biggest concern is that they don't know anything about housebreaking. They don't know where it's appropriate to go, how to tell you that they need to go, so you're going to be starting from the very basics.
And they do suspect all 11 will find homes, will go home today. We will have the very latest for you tonight at 5. We also spoke with some folks who were lined up here, including a guy who was first in line and waited about an hour and a half to get inside. We're going to have more from him and others coming up again tonight at 5. Live from Animal Friends, I'm Liz Kilmer, Channel 11 News.
More breaking news now. In the past hour, both police and the South Park School District have released breaking details in connection with an incident at Evans Park. Police say a child was found unconscious at the park last night. Channel 11's Gabriella DeLuca joins us live with what we're learning about this investigation this afternoon. Gabriella?
Gordon, we know so many people have questions about what happened here at Evans Park, and all morning I have been working to get answers for you. So police responded here to Evans Park last night. There was a homecoming bonfire and a pep rally. Someone called 911 after they found a girl who was unconscious. Medics were treating her when one of her parents showed up to the park here. Police say the child's clothing was disheveled and she was unable to talk or speak about what exactly happened to her. So South Park School District sent out a statement today saying they are not releasing any information because this is an active investigation, but they are encouraging anyone who knows anything about the incident last night to call police. Counselors will also be available for students at the school today. So last night the girl went to Children's Hospital last night for treatment. County police are taking over this investigation. Throughout the rest of the day, I'm going to be working on getting specifics on what exactly happened here at the park. Reporting live in South Park, Gabriella DeLuca, Channel 11 News.
Police expect to make an arrest soon in connection with vandalism at the Washington County Fairgrounds. They say someone drove a car into garage doors at the food court Saturday night, then vandalized offices. Some good news for police. The suspect was caught on surveillance camera. Police in Penn State are warning about men harassing women on and off the university's campus. Officers say they got several reports of women being grabbed by men who were trying to talk to them. They say no one has been hurt, but they have confirmed one report of harassment, and they're reminding students to report anything suspicious. 2 Ohio universities are cracking down on fraternity hazing. The first in Athens, where Ohio University suspended all of its frats effective immediately. The decision comes 11 months after a student was found dead at one campus frat house. Meanwhile, investigation into alleged hazing by a fraternity at Miami University of Ohio has led to criminal charges. 18 members of Delta Tau Delta face charges of hazing and assault. Happening now, the State Department of Health is holding a news conference on vaping-related illnesses. We'll bring you any new developments on this. This all comes as the number of vaping-related lung cases in the U.S. has surged past 1,000. 100 more people are still recovering. NBC's Tom Costello has the alarming new numbers.
The numbers are alarming, revealing the true extent of the vaping crisis spreading across the country. The CDC says more than 1,000 Americans have now become sick or died because of illnesses linked to vaping, most of them under the age of 35. Nearly every state has reported a confirmed or probable case, with 275 confirmed in just the last week. And the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says it could be just the beginning.
An outbreak of this magnitude that doesn't show any sign of slowing down is of great concern.
Doctors across the country are scrambling to pinpoint what exactly is making people sick. Some have suggested that oil in the lungs is to blame. But a new Mayo Clinic study says they're seeing toxic chemical burns in patients' lungs.
The type of chemical injury that we see very closely resembles the type of injury you see when a patient is involved in an industrial accident where there's a chemical spill.
And with the majority of patients reporting that they used products containing THC, the psychoactive ingredient in marijuana. Counterfeit vapes are also causing concern. The vaping industry itself claims the recent outbreak is tied to tainted, tampered cartridges. Tests commissioned by NBC News of illicit THC cartridges recently revealed that they contained high levels of pesticides and myclobutanol, a fungicide that can turn into hydrogen cyanide when burned, as well as vitamin E.
You just don't know what you're getting. And all this stuff in here certainly is deadly.
A dangerous epidemic still spreading and still claiming lives. State health authorities tell NBC News that they're now investigating more than 1,300 more cases. So it's likely that the total number will only continue to rise. I'm Tom Costello in Washington. Back to you.
I was like in complete shock of how this could ever just happen.
A mother crashed a minivan with her 4 kids inside, and police say she did it on purpose. What she told the kids moments before impact. And police discover a pool full of pot, $100,000 worth. Only 11 was there as police burned it all.
Clouds moving back into the region. I'm going to show you how that's going to adjust the temperatures for the afternoon.
WPXI Now. When a major story breaks, this is where you'll find 24-hour coverage. From the Channel 11 newsroom to our crews live in the field, we'll bring you the information you need right now. WPXI Now. Always on when you want the latest on...
cover the news the same way.
Channel 11 covers news everywhere you live, not just downtown. More local news from more neighborhoods. That's a fact. Channel 11 News at 5, when you want news from where you live. Channel 11 News at 5, covering more news in Westmoreland County.
Chapter 11 over a home in Franklin Township, Beaver County, where police say they found thousands of dollars worth of marijuana. Take a closer look at this picture that police shared with us of the swimming pool where they say the pot was grown. Channel 11 was there Thursday as police burned nearly $100,000 worth of the marijuana.
Significant amount of piping for irrigation and containers. It's the first time for us. Yeah. Usually in a rural area, they put it in amongst the cornfields.
Charges are now pending against 2 people. A Florida mom crashed into a tree with her 4 kids in the minivan, and police say this was not an accident. They say she intentionally crashed that car. She told her children to take off their seatbelts right before she hit the gas. These photos show the aftermath of a crash Wednesday. Police in Ocala, Florida believe Kalisha Williams intentionally crashed her minivan into a tree with her 4 kids inside. The children range in age from 7 to 13.
I was like in complete shock of how this could ever just happen. Like, she's one of the nicest people I've ever met. She works really hard and she takes very good care of her kids.
Julie Rogers is a friend of Williams and says she just saw her 5 days before the crash.
They were at the skating rink having a good time, so nothing odd or anything like that would make you lead to believe that something like this could possibly happen.
Detectives say Williams' daughter told officers right before the crash her mother told the 4 children to take off their seatbelts, stretch out their hands, and said, "The devil can't hurt you. He only hurts bad people. You have the light of Jesus in you, and only Jesus can cure us." Detectives say it appears Williams steered the car directly towards a palm tree.
They seem like good people. They always outside playing with their dogs and stuff like that. That's why I was like, you know, it's crazy, you know what I'm saying? You never really know what's going on, you know, inside people's households.
We've been praying for them, and we just hope that the best for the kids, and hopefully everything turns out well for them.
Well, all 4 of those children are expected to be okay. The mother is still in the hospital. She's been charged with 4 counts of attempted murder and will be taken to jail when she is released from the hospital. A Texas grandmother fought back against 2 car thieves, and it was caught on camera. Take a look at this. The 60-year-old woman was getting ready to start the paper route that she's had for 34 years. You can see that thief took her keys and knocked her to the ground, but she wouldn't give in. The grandmother punched and kicked her attacker, and she says if it weren't for that second man, she would have kept fighting.
He kept saying, "You better give me them keys." Now I'm like, "No, I'm not giving you these keys. This not my truck. That's my truck."
Right.
And I'm not going to just give you something. It don't belong to you. Go to work.
Yeah, don't mess with her. The victim found the truck a few blocks away. The thieves had dumped her purse in the street. The Duquesne Incline is back on track. It reopened early this morning. Bed bugs forced it to close for a second time this week. An exterminator treated the cars and the stations. When the snow starts falling, PennDOT wants to make sure all of its trucks are out on the road. According to the Trib, PennDOT's 12th district wants to hire 104 plow truck drivers for winter. That district includes Westmoreland, Fayette, Washington, and Greene counties. PennDOT is holding a job fair for those positions on October 16th at the Greene County office in Waynesburg.
Your severe weather Team 11 forecast.
Look at these clouds pouring back down into the region on the visible satellite. They get pretty thick, too. What's happening is a second wave is coming through to reinforce the cool air already in place. But the farther north you go, the cooler it gets because the cloud cover is thick and that air mass is a little cooler. So we might be at about our high temperature in the city of Pittsburgh right now. Let me show you what's going on. First of all, to the north, 63 in Pittsburgh right now, 61 in Butler, but it's only 55 in Newcastle, only 53 in Franklin. That colder air is going to press to the south this afternoon. So from Pittsburgh south, that's going to begin to thicken up the cloud cover a little bit. And you'll notice that additional chill in the air, especially mid to late afternoon. 64 Washington right now, 63 Morgantown. These areas won't get that second force of cold air until later this afternoon, so you might come up another couple of ticks in Waynesburg and Morgantown before things begin to backpedal a little bit. I have them backpedaling this afternoon down to 62 in Pittsburgh, and by 6 p.m. that might be a little optimistic. That cloud cover, as I'm checking observation sites off to the north of the city, fairly thick, so a couple spots in Allegheny County might be down in the upper 50s already by 6 o'clock. Then tonight we'll start to clear the skies out again. 51 by 10 o'clock tonight. Heading to high school football games is going to be coat weather for the first time. Partly cloudy, 56, first time this season is what I mean by the coat weather, because temperatures will be dropping into the 40s during the game, and the air is dry. Dry air tends to feel colder than air that has some moisture to it. So as you're sitting on those metal bleachers at high school football games tonight, it's going to be a little cooler than what you've been used to for sure so far this football season. 43 degrees in Pittsburgh tonight, 41 in Butler. Some of the valley areas will drop into the upper 30s tonight. Places like Katanning, probably down to about 38 degrees. Get down over towards Natrona, even over towards Oakmont, might get down to about 38, 39 degrees tonight. Nice recovery tomorrow as temperatures push back up into the mid and upper 60s. A couple spots back into the 70s tomorrow. So if you have any plans tomorrow, maybe some fall festivals tomorrow, probably just do a short sleeve shirt in the afternoon with a decent southwest breeze and temperatures back into the 60s tomorrow. Take the sunglasses. I know if you're going to any of these fall festivals, you're going to be outside for a couple of hours, so make sure the kids have the sunscreen on as well. Sunday morning, start to pull a couple showers together on Storm Tracker. Bulk of the rain arrives after 3 p.m. So Steelers game on Sunday could have some rain, especially in the second half. And watch as I put the clock in motion. Some of this rain fairly heavy by about 7 o'clock in the evening and then pushing off to the east. Different computer models are showing different solutions, but rain definitely looks likely later in the day Sunday with a high temperature of 70 degrees. Rest of your 5-day forecast through weekend always in view. We'll start Monday off with some rain, 62. And Tuesday, plenty of sunshine in 64 degrees. I am going to take a closer look at those temperatures and the impact it's going to have on your plans for late this afternoon and this evening as we check weather again coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Scott. An unlikely friendship in Ohio between a cheetah cub and a rescue dog. It may look like a casual play date, but zoo officials in Cincinnati say this pairing was actually quite deliberate. The 3-month-old cheetah, named Chris, is the only surviving cub from her litter. So zookeepers introduced her to Remus, the dog. The zookeeper says she's not sure if Remus thinks the cheetah is just a weird-looking dog, but they're going with it. The owner of a Pittsburgh restaurant needs your help finding this man. What he likely thought was all in fun. That has the restaurant out hundreds of dollars. And students take a stand, how they stopped a classmate from taking a knife to school.
7-day forecast, now on your screen all the time on Channel 11 News.
Students in the Belle Vernon School District are being praised for stopping a potentially dangerous situation at their school bus stop. They alerted their parents that a student at the bus stop had a knife in a backpack. A mother then called police and the school, so that knife never made it onto the bus. But that mother is still worried about her child's safety.
Like, what is going to happen after this? Like, that's what I'm most scared about. Is he going to be back on the bus? What precaution are they going to take in protecting my kids, everybody's kids?
The school district says it alerted parents about the situation. The district and police are still investigating. A Florida man is being punished for oversleeping. He ended up missing jury duty. He was sworn in as a juror in August and was supposed to return to the next day for the case, but he overslept. That was mistake number one. The second mistake happened when he didn't call the jury office to let them know what happened. A few days later, he was served with a subpoena to go before a judge.
I just said, sir, honestly, I overslept, and I didn't understand the seriousness of this. He asked me if I had a criminal record. I said, sir, I've never been arrested.
Transcripts show he apologized, but the judge still sentenced him to 10 days in jail. In addition to the jail time, he's also on probation for 1 year, and he has to complete 150 hours of community service. Target 11 found out taxpayers are paying for a Pittsburgh police officer to stay home. Why? It's all because of his medical marijuana.
Plus, I'm tracking where clouds and a couple sprinkles are going to keep those temperatures down even colder this afternoon.
Not all stations cover the news the same way.
Channel 11 News covers stories in every local neighborhood.
Greensburg, Ross Township, Washington.
Some stations concentrate their coverage just in the city limits of Pittsburgh.
Channel 11 covers news everywhere you live, not just downtown.
Uniontown, Brentwood, Millvale.
That's one thing that makes Channel 11 News different.
More local news from more neighborhoods. That's a fact.
Wilkinsburg, South Park, Cranberry.
Channel 11 News at 5, when you want news from... Channel 11 News at 6.
Followed by NBC Nightly News at 6:30.
Continuing breaking news coverage, police say the suspicious package found near the Clemente Bridge is not a bomb, but it was made to look like a potentially dangerous device. The package was found on the Riverwalk near the 6th and 7th Street bridges. When police arrived, they confirmed the device was suspicious and called for help.
Bomb squad was called. They determined it was not harmful. It was made to look like a potentially harmful device.
The Clemente Bridge is still closed. We'll let you know when that reopens. And breaking in just the last few minutes, Pennsylvania confirmed its first vaping-related death in the state. Health officials say the unidentified person died in late September. It marks at least the 19th vaping-related death in the country. Channel 11 is working to learn more, and we'll bring you the very latest starting at 5. A big cool down today, and there's rain in the forecast for the weekend. Meteorologist Scott Harbaugh is tracking those changes in Severe Weather Center 11.
I think we're going to bump some numbers down this afternoon. We've made it to our close to high temperature, about 63, 64 degrees, but the clouds are starting to thicken up, as you can see on live tower cam right now, and the wind's starting to pick up as well. We have another little wave of cool air pushing through, so 63 in Pittsburgh right now, but off to the north, temperatures really cool off quickly. I think that's going to be the mainstay for the afternoon. Notice the clouds pushing in from north to south, so we'll see more clouds and sun this afternoon. That breeze picks up and those temperatures are going to be slow to respond. Just a couple of sprinkles working their way through Butler, Beaver counties right now. Most areas, nothing more than a sprinkle. And our high temperature in the next hour, up to about 64 degrees. I'm going to go back, update those numbers right now. I'll have a fresh look at what you can expect the rest of the day today, coming up in about 15 minutes. Gordon?
Thanks, Scott. He injured his back and couldn't sleep at night, and medical marijuana is the only thing that eases his pain. But it's also the reason a Pittsburgh police officer is off the job. Target 11 investigator Rick Earl started looking into this months ago, and he learned rules are different for some first responders.
Target 11 has learned that a Pittsburgh police officer who tested positive for medical marijuana earlier this year remains on paid administrative leave, even though the state has said they won't certify officers who use marijuana because federal law prohibits them from possessing a firearm. The mayor said today the law department is still reviewing the case.
We have several city employees who are prescribed marijuana for medicinal purposes. It is different, though, with police, because with police there's a very strict law which prohibits the use of marijuana for any police officer in the state of Pennsylvania.
City firefighters, medics, and other employees are allowed to use medical marijuana if they have a doctor's prescription. It's treated like alcohol. If they show up to work high, they face disciplinary action. But the executive director of the Pittsburgh Citizens Police Review Board is raising a red flag.
Until we better understand the complete role of medical marijuana and its potential psychoactive influence on people, how would you determine if there was an excess?
The police officers union said, quote, "We are aware of the situation, but because it falls under HIPAA or the health privacy laws, we believe it's not right to comment. It's unfortunate that someone violated the law by going to the media." While declining to address specifics involving the officer in question, the union president called out the state agency that certifies municipal police officers, saying they issued an order that conflicts with the state law legalizing medical marijuana. The mayor, who joined the governor and Pennsylvania Attorney General recently in support of legalizing recreational marijuana use for adults, believes that may ultimately force the state and feds to re-examine their ban on police officers.
I would allow the state to do its due diligence on it, but if we make marijuana into the same classification as alcohol, it should be basically looked at under that same lens.
We reached out to that state agency that certifies police officers but have not heard back. The West Mifflin couple accused of abusing their baby are still behind bars in Tennessee. The attorney for Damon Klingensmith tells Channel 11 that he's trying to get his client home as quickly as possible. Police say the couple left Children's Hospital with their 7-week-old baby after a doctor wanted to examine the child for suspected abuse.
His family has conveyed to me that they're supporting him. They don't in any way, shape, or form believe he had any malicious intent or nefarious desires or wanted to harm this child, and they are backing him.
The baby and his toddler sibling are in protective custody in Tennessee. Klingensmith has a hearing Tuesday where he may find out when he can come back to Pennsylvania. The latest on a truck fire, I should say, in Bethel Park. We first followed this fire on Clark Avenue as it was breaking yesterday at noon. You can see the ground also charred there. Officials say that truck rolled away from a neighbor's house and hit a gas line, causing it to catch fire. At first, crews were worried because there were chemicals in the truck, but it turns out it was lawn care chemicals that were not flammable. Fortunately, no one was hurt. A scare for shoppers in Ross Township. Kohl's on McKnight Road had to be evacuated. Our photographer did not see flames, but there were firefighters on the roof. It looks like they were checking the HVAC system. We'll let you know as we get more information. Take a look at these pictures. They show a man pulling Halloween decorations off of a popular Pittsburgh restaurant. This is the North Park Lounge in Lawrenceville. May not seem like a big deal, but Channel 11's Gabriela DeLuca learned that this has set the restaurant back hundreds of dollars.
Well, why don't you come down and pay the bill that we had to replace the lights?
That's an open invitation from Bob Andrews, the owner of North Park Lounge, Lawrenceville, to this man who police are searching for tonight. Surveillance video captured him in the middle of the night on Tuesday, vandalizing the Halloween decorations on the restaurant.
Less than 10 hours after we had him up, someone tried to pull him down. But we had the camera up there. We got him caught looking into the camera, so I think it might have got spooked and left.
At one point, you can see the man almost look directly into the camera. That next day, the restaurant owner had to hire his maintenance team to put the lights back up again.
A lot of our staff and my partners put a lot of time and energy in putting the stuff up. And, you know, we can't let one bad person ruin it for everybody else.
But in the meantime, he hopes someone recognizes the suspect.
Oh, hopefully someone will notice it. You know, I don't know if he lives around here. I would assume he does walk in the streets at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Police have a copy of that surveillance video, but at this point, no arrests. Another passenger stopped with a gun at Pittsburgh International Airport. TSA agents say they stopped a Butler County man Wednesday. They say he had a loaded gun with 13 bullets in his backpack. Allegheny County police took that gun and arrested him. This is the 29th gun discovered by TSA agents at the airport so far this year. Ohio is paying for a study to find another way to battle opioid addiction. The state attorney general wants scientists to look at genetic markers that may identify people who are prone to addiction. It's believed this will be the biggest study of its kind on the issue.
If we know somebody is going to go in for back surgery and we think that they're going to have to be on short-term opioids, how do we predict up front who will be at risk?
Ohio has been hit especially hard by the opioid addiction. 4,200 people have died of an overdose there since 2017. The Justice Department wants Facebook to help law enforcement see encrypted messages. Our Jacqueline Fell is in Washington with why officials say they need the backdoor access to private conversations.
Law enforcement officials say the goal here is not to invade your privacy, but to stop child pornographers and terrorists. At a summit today, the FBI director said Facebook and other companies are creating a lawless space that could put people in danger. Security enhancements announced earlier this year by Facebook aim to provide more privacy and security for users. There would be features like auto-deleting messages and secure data storage. The Justice Department claims these enhancements are going to make it harder for law enforcement to investigate criminal cases.
Dream come true for predators and child pornographers, a platform that allows them to find and connect with kids and like-minded criminals with little fear of consequences.
Facebook has not returned my request for comment. Previously, the company has said it opposes government attempts to build a so-called backdoor, adding that the company works with child safety experts. In Washington, Jacqueline Fell, Channel 11 News.
The Steelers are getting ready for a very important battle with the Baltimore Ravens. It's critical because even with that 0-3 start, the Steelers only trail the Ravens and the Browns by 1 game in the AFC North. A win can keep them in the division race. And what we're seeing this week is continuing to reflect what looks to be a changing of the guard in quarterbacks. 2 second-year quarterbacks, Mason Rudolph and Lamar Jackson, will go head-to-head for the first time.
You know, I'm competitive no matter who it is, but yeah, I think I know Lamar and spent a lot of time through that draft process, so we're both very competitive individuals, and it'll be no different this week than any other week, but we both want to win, and he's a great player, and I'm excited to play.
Practice is just wrapping up. Channel 11 News crews are there. Look for the latest on what the players are saying tonight on Channel 11 News starting at 5. A disappointing start to the season for the Penguins. They dropped the season opener 3-1 last night at home against the Buffalo Sabres. The Pens' next home game is tomorrow night at home against Columbus. You've heard it before, Pennsylvania has the most cases of Lyme disease in the country. The new study shows ticks carrying that disease are more common in Pittsburgh parks than you might think. And newer doesn't always mean better. The car safety features that experts say might not be ready for the road.
know everything happening in the morning. Watch Channel 11 Morning News.
Bed Bath & Beyond will close more stores than it originally planned. It now plans to close 20 locations by the end of the year. This is in addition to the 40 announced in April. Even with the closures, Bed Bath & Beyond will still have about 1,000 U.S. stores. It's been a rough stretch for the retailer. Sales are down, and its stock has lost 85% of its value in the past 5 years. Warrendale-based Rue 21 is bouncing back from bankruptcy with a new store in Pittsburgh. This one is at the mall at Robinson. Rue 21 also says 100 of their stores were given a facelift. They have nearly 700 stores still operating. The company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in May of 2017 and emerged in September of that year. Cars are getting new safety features all the time, but a new study says they don't always work. AAA found automatic emergency braking systems perform sporadically throughout the day and are entirely ineffective at night. And pedestrian detection technology uses cameras and sensors to identify people and hazards in the road. AAA says it's promising, but don't trust it too much.
What drivers need to know is that they should look for that system in their next car, but then drive it like it's not there.
AAA tested the feature by putting up hazards in simulated crosswalks during a car's right-hand turn. Another included a target the size of a child darting out from between two parked cars. Quite a welcome home for a local teenager, and only 11 is there. The special meaning behind this celebration.
Clouds starting to thicken up from north to south across the area. I've updated temperatures for the afternoon, how it's going to impact your Friday evening plans.
You're streaming WPXI now. Your source for breaking news, weather, and original local shows. Amazing people are having a big impact all over rural America. Small town, big deal. Weekdays at 2 p.m. on WPXI. News 11 at 11. 11 minutes of news and weather before the first commercial. This is Channel 11 News 11 at 11. Accurate details, experienced coverage, trusted weather source.
I'm tracking a strong storm moving into Greensburg.
All in the first 11 minutes of our newscast. Count on Channel 11 News 11 at 11 tonight.
A Moon Township teenager finally home nearly 6 months after he was seriously injured in a gymnastics accident. Only Channel 11's Amy Hudak was there, his family, friends, and even the school marching band welcomed him home yesterday.
When I got here, I realized I've been gone for a while. It's nice to be back.
It was a moment moment the Speenbergs feared might not ever happen.
We had days where we were like, oh my gosh, are we ever gonna get out of here?
Nearly 6 months after a devastating spinal injury in the vault during gymnastics practice left him paralyzed, Chris was able to come home. His high school band fought through tears to put on an entire show.
It's nice. It's good to see everyone that I haven't seen so far.
Signs lined the neighborhood and entire banners hung for Chris's homecoming.
He's the strongest kid I've ever met.
His mom, Jennifer, spent every single night by his side since April.
She was with him 24/7.
He always had a smile on his face.
Well, the toughest fight is over. The new normal for the family is just setting in.
We're approaching the next chapter here with no fear. We'll make it.
And for the first night since April, Mom, Dad, and son are all under one roof.
We're just so happy to be home.
Today was a big day for us.
Amy Hudak, Channel 11 News.
So good to see him back home with his family. If you'd like to help them, we have all the information of how and where to donate on WPXI.com. Back to breaking news. The Clemente Bridge has reopened. It was shut down this morning after a suspicious package was found near the bridge. Police say it was made to look like a potentially dangerous device, but was not a threat.
Your severe winter Team 11 forecast.
Now, I'm watching the temperatures carefully early this afternoon because I mentioned last half hour that push of cooler air that was coming to the south, that cloud cover. Well, the temperatures have dropped off. Butler's dropped 4 degrees in the last half hour. I expect the same to happen in Pittsburgh. We might come up another degree in Pittsburgh to about 64, but notice once you get north of Allegheny County, it's all 50s now, and I think that's going to be the trend to the south into Beaver, Allegheny, Westmoreland County this afternoon. We're 64 right now in Washington and in Greensburg, 63 in Morgantown. But again, I expect a backpedaling this afternoon, so by 5 o'clock in Pittsburgh, down to about 59 degrees, 8 o'clock tonight, down to 53. That means if you have plans for high school football games tonight, and tens of thousands of people do, I'm recommending a jacket tonight, not just because the air temperature is going to be 56 at kickoff tonight, but because the air is going to be dry. Dry air feels cooler than air that has some moisture to it. So at 56 with that northwest wind tonight, it's going to feel a little brisk. Don't forget all the highlights from all the biggest games tonight. 11:15 on Channel 11 News, 11 at 11. Chase Williams and Chris Carter will have it for you in fashion with some of the biggest games across the area. 43 overnight tonight. Outlying areas, those valleys, into the 30s tonight, and then tomorrow recover nicely. Beautiful day tomorrow. Mostly sunny, seasonal, high temperature 66. We'll see some clouds come in late in the day. That's the precursor to our next system on Sunday. Storm tracker Sunday morning, 7:30, some showers already southeast into the mountains. Pittsburgh should hold off on most of the rain till mid to late afternoon, but there could be rain for the second half of the Steelers game. By 7 in the evening, we could be looking at some pockets of heavy rain, maybe even a clap of thunder. And this should be the first of a couple waves of moisture that move through the area late Sunday, Sunday night, and Monday. All told, probably about 1 to 2 inches of rain widespread across much of the area Sunday night and Monday. That could lead to some localized high water issues. Stay with us all weekend long. Meteorologist Kevin Benson will be in this weekend, updating the rainfall forecast hour by hour as we go through the weekend so you're prepared for first thing Monday morning. Rain comes to an end on Monday, 62 for the high temperature. Then Tuesday, mostly sunny. Another cool day, a high of 64.
Ticks carrying Lyme disease are more common in Pittsburgh city parks than you might expect. According to the Trib, IUP researchers found they're just as common in city parks as they are in areas outside the city. And this study looked at ticks in 4 city parks and found about half of them carry Lyme disease. That's about the same as in more rural areas. Protect and serve extends to Mother Nature as well. This dashboard video shows an officer in Oregon helping out a deer. You can see the animal stuck in the fence right there, struggling. The officer goes behind the fence and lifts the baby deer up over the fence right there, sets him down to run free. The baby deer's mother was waiting nearby.
This baby out?
A father caught speeding, and for good reason. His wife was in labor. The speedy delivery next.
Johnson and Peggy Finnegan on Channel 11 News at 5.
There's a new bird in town. The National Aviary is showing off its newest addition, a young spectacled owl, and she's a girl. During yesterday's naming ceremony, we learned her name is Duo.
She has some white coloration to the top of her head still. Over the next 6 months, more and more of that white will disappear, and she'll get a white ring around her eyes, which makes them look like they're wearing a pair of spectacles, which is how they get their name.
The Aviary also announced a partnership with Duolingo. It's a language learning platform based in Pittsburgh, and their mascot is an owl. Avonmore is close to completing a $100,000 upgrade at the Pasternak Recreation Area. The project adds a trail along the pond, a fishing pier, increased parking, and a gazebo. $80,000 came from the state. The borough paid for the rest of the work. Avonmore officials say that they would also like to install a new playground in the future. Crews are filling the waterways with thousands of trout. The process began Wednesday and included placing more than 82,000 trout across the state. You can start fishing for them now, but you need a license or a trout permit. An American teacher has inspired South Korean students to build a robotic arm using Legos. The teacher was born with a hand deformity, and while he doesn't wear a prosthetic himself, he says that the robotic hand shows how robots can be beneficial to his students.
I like that they can see someone who has a disability, and a disability you think would really affect your life, still being successful in an area that is hands-on, even though you don't have a hand.
He says students also get to learn subjects like engineering, coding, and physics. A traffic stop in Florida took a dramatic turn. A woman in the car was in labor, and the baby wasn't waiting.
Here we go. This baby out.
A deputy pulled the car over Tuesday for speeding. The dad immediately explained what was happening, and the deputy grabbed his gloves and a blanket.
My concern was obviously with the baby, and she grabbed my index finger with a firm grip, and I was happy for that.
A little later, an ambulance came to take mom and baby to the hospital. The deputy said this was his first baby delivery traffic stop in his 26-year career. Both he and mom obviously did a great job. That's all for Channel 11 News at noon. Our next newscast is tonight at 5. You can get breaking news updates anytime on our streaming apps. Just search WPXI on Apple TV, Roku, or Amazon Fire. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.
Pittsburgh's Chief Meteorologist Stephen Cropper tracking the weather in your neighborhood.